Yeah, let's roll.
We'll call the August workshop meeting to order. Items for discussion. First item, consideration to adopt amendment to portions for vehicle tax relief.
Yeah,
Please do.
okay, that's just the percentage that we come up with each year when we do the taxes. When I speak on that, we have already mailed out tax invoices, and that's based on how many vehicles we end up paying. So that's just saying that is the percentage that we were able to give you among all people that were eligible for that discount. And it is printed on the back of the bill too.
I already got mine.
Any more explanation y'all need on that?
No, ma'am.
We do this every year anyway, right? This is just that
Just, I think, more public.
little formality.
Yes, because the rate does change every year based on how many vehicles. I think we got 131 new ones this year.
Does this require action at this time? Does this require action at this time?
Do we have to vote on, okay, Cindy's saying yes.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Motion made, properly seconded. Adopt the amendment to the portions for vehicle tax relief. Any further discussion? The rate is 48.4%
What does it say
tax
again?
relief. On page 3 of your
Yeah.
agenda.
It
It's
tells
there,
you.
okay, good, okay.
By roll call vote. Ms. Allen.
Yes.
Mr. Boyce.
Yes.
Mr. Garrett.
Yes.
Ms. Puckett.
Yes.
Mr. Simpson.
Yes.
Ms. Spiegel.
Yes.
A vote of 6-0, motion carries. Item 2, discussion to consider ADA compliance solutions.
Okay, who's going to update us on that?
Valerie is, just give him a moment. Went through the first one pretty quickly.
This ADA audit, if we start talking about that property, I think we need to be in a closed session, not doing it
We're
in
not.
an open session. But
So
what,
this is about the ADA compliance solutions for here, correct?
for here?
Yeah, I'd like for us to put let me just go ahead and schedule a closed session for the next meeting to discuss it. Let's go ahead and schedule it and advertise it, and if we need it, we need it, if we don't, we don't.
We don't need to open, talk about
Yes.
that.
Selling or purchasing
No,
real estate?
don't, yeah, we will.
They're
we
always
need-
enclosed.
We will
can
do
do
that
that.
at that time. This,
You going at the next workshop or at the town council?
town council.
Yeah, the next meeting.
All right, sorry, man.
Compliance solutions for the town properties that we currently possess.
And I'd like to, I guess we could run this by Frank, but this town manager's report, this page in specific, would be excluded from FOIA as a pending real estate transaction.
Yeah, it should be.
Do we want to, would it move quicker, Rob, or be more helpful to you if we had a committee of 2 council members?
I think so, yeah. I mean, either your physical development committee or maybe something like that.
Which already exists.
Yeah, we already got a physical
I mean,
development.
if that group can convene more quickly, it might
Yep, that's fine.
make sense.
Yep.
Okay. That's fine.
As far as the ADA for this building,
Same committee.
is, did we get a number, like, do we have a proposed?
No, I think we were going to discuss which phases you wanted to price out. there's the ramp, there's access door issues, and I think from the report that was done by Dominion 7, there's at least one bathroom. So we could either move to get proposals to tackle those collectively or as individual projects. The Procurement Act is going to, since it's a construction, it would have to be bid out for the actual construction.
The ramp, one bathroom, and what else?
And I believe the access, the way the doors swing in and out, they need to be reversed according to that report.
I think pending the upcoming closed session, I think that whole section 2 should be tabled, because there's no need to discuss one thing if we're going to look at another thing.
It might make sense then, because this is, everything kind of hinges on
If
the
this, then
discussion.
that, yeah.
Right. Maybe what we could talk about tonight is, one, do we want to move forward with what we discussed at the last meeting? And then what is our appetite for purchase, money for purchase and money for repairs? And figure out what that might be.
Yeah.
Because we have ARPA money, and that could or could not be used for
It's on here.
purchase of property.
Yeah, I
I
think.
I didn't
Yeah,
really understand
Yeah.
how that works.
Okay. You want,
You wanna go over
okay.
it?
I think anything over $1 million that's a capital expenditure, no matter where you're spending it, we have to justify that as an extra explanation for this money. So it doesn't matter where you place it, here, there, wherever. If it's over $1 million capital expenditures, we're gonna have to do an extra report anyway. Currently, we have about 1.1 uncommitted in ARPA fund. Uncommitted meaning you haven't picked a project for it.
1 point, what did you say?
About 1.1.
But we could purchase real estate. Real estate's not excluded, or?
I need to verify that because I've never gone down that road before with a question. And the person who's leading us through this is not the government itself, it's our auditor, because they're making sure that whatever we spend it on, that it's gonna fly through. So I can check with Brown Edwards with their area for this and propose that option. Yeah, they did feel, because of the items that were cited before, that we could do some updates here, but they haven't heard this scenario. So I can verify that.
Do we know what lead grant is going to cost us?
Oh.
But it's going to be at least $1 million.
I was just wondering if that could go to ARPA funding. Could that be used for that? So I'm worried about committing some. And then we could use whatever funds we've got and resolve that problem, but get this put to bed, so we've got the funds.
So have we got any firm prices on lead grant for us paving and sidewalk repair?
No, they're doing topography survey now. So I would hope within a month we'd have an idea of where we're going to be cost-wise, but I don't know.
Who is doing
Down to the
that?
wire.
Hurt and Profit is handling it for,
I mean, they can move quicker than a month.
well, I think just the surveying and then putting it out to bid and getting the bids back. But I can verify a timeline with Tori tomorrow.
And just as a reminder too, this 1.1 needs to be under contract by the end of the year of what we definitely going to do, contracted and agreed upon. And then we have 2 years to use it, but we have to have everything committed by the end of the year.
I was just wondering if that might be quicker.
Could be. Then it has to be used.
You have 24, yes, 24 months to use it.
I also feel like that the issues we have with the bathroom ADA, I think we need to go on your prices and start doing something regardless of what else we do in that area. But, and we need to do some design. Somebody needs to design whether it's an ADA there or here. This one would be more with the meeting setting and office, but that one would be a little bit out of the way, I would think. But
Yeah.
I don't know, we gotta get some kind of idea what it's gonna look like to make that bigger, to make it a 5-foot. It's gonna change the entrance here, but I feel like we need to go ahead and get that price and start doing that regardless, because this building's gonna have to have something.
And this is the entryway that our customers come in.
Correct.
So if someone would say, I need to go to the bathroom, you don't, and they're disabled, you wouldn't want to direct them through this room, back over here. It makes more logical sense to have this bathroom ADA.
I'm not opposed to, I don't know, it's probably a load-bearing wall, you're not gonna be able to go that way, so you're gonna have to come this way a foot or so with a portion of that bathroom. 'Cause
Yeah,
it-
if you had to turn a wheelchair around or have two people in there and try to help each other.
I feel like we need to go ahead and just let Rob go ahead and find somebody that can make that bathroom bigger and make it ADA.
ASAP.
We'll get to working on a RFP for that.
As far as the ramp, I think, do we know what actual this ramp is, as far as
It's in
code?
the drawings of Dominion 7. That- go back and-
Because it's close to being close. I don't know how close it is, but for every foot you can have, I think, an inch every 12 inches.
Yeah, but I think the biggest thing we're gonna do is have the perfectly level
Yeah, it needs.
landings between each section. So,
But the other option is come out of that other door. If we're gonna widen this hallway, have ADA going out that way, you got a lesser elevation out that way. And I mean, it might make sense to go something this way with the ADA and the ramp, because you'd have a shorter ramp going out that door when you do this door.
And that's where
What I looked at.
that's where the accessible parking would have to be anyway, because this is going downhill. So unless they had somebody helping them, those parking spots are really not the best.
That's right. I mean, we
It's
could
a lot of
buy-
engineering, I guess.
We could buy a metal ramp for
Do it every day.
$4,500 and just put it there, and if anybody needs to use it, they could.
And that's what the Carver Price Legacy Museum has done,
Yeah,
and it's worked
and
well.
you may get it sooner.
I think those couple items we can, in the HVAC, I mean, if that's in need of being replaced, I mean, I know it's on Blair's list, but
We have 2 proposals coming in from maintenance of all the town HVAC equipment, because we've had some substantial repairs at DMV and in this building that have been pretty costly. So yeah, that's what's been shared with me is they're
I think the
way
ADA stuff, we're gonna have to go do, and that's something, if you can get something moving in that, we could pull the trigger on maybe to go and do that.
Yep.
We'll work 2 scenarios for that.
So which one we on now? Well,
well, those two kind of working together, and I think we're gonna try to utilize the ARPA funds to accommodate this. Is that where we're headed on those?
I'd like to see us use ARPA money. That's probably a one-to-one hit.
Quick as we can.
Yep.
All right, we'll check and see how fast Hurt and Profit can move this along.
Okay.
they can do something quicker than more.
Let them know we're, I
Hypothetical
mean,
price.
we're all in consensus that we want to authorize that money for, I think if they know that we have the money set aside to pull the trigger on this, that,
But they did a cost estimate a while back, so it's just probably a matter of updating it and getting it out there. So
Okay.
soon we get it advertised, but I'll touch base with Corey and we'll let Biff Johnson know that we need to move.
Some of that work too might be already be procured through the state and just piggyback on another contract.
Yeah, we'll check.
and that is not taking any land, and it's just
Right.
moving
We're working within what we
fences
have.
with fences.
Putting the handrail up where it needed.
Okay.
Yeah, there'd be no acquisition of any property, is my understanding.
And that would be a new curb, so we would have to coordinate with the school where the buses won't drive.
Yes, I did talk to Dr. Tibbs, and he did ask if he knew what we were doing, and he did want to be a part of that conversation once we move forward for the bus routes.
Alrighty.
All right. Anything else on these last, on items 2 and 3, ADA compliance and ARPA funding? All right. Next item on the agenda is discussion of selection process for vice mayor. Cindy's, I think, provided all of us with a copy of the bylaws, rules, and procedures. There are several highlighted items that I have.
No, just some direction.
Oh, okay.
I don't have that.
Can you give us the skinning on the lock?
Basically, and this is more historic precedent than
Reading pad.
in the bylaws, at the first meeting in July, at the beginning of each term, the Appomattox Town Council, the council shall elect from its membership a vice mayor, each of whom shall serve a term expiring on June 30th, 2-year term of office, until their respective successors shall be selected. In the case of the absence of the mayor and vice mayor, the members present shall choose one of the members as president pro tem. And basically, I think historically, and it's been agreed upon amongst council, that the person receiving the most votes in the most recent election would be the vice mayor. However, with the split terms of the council members, that tends to change. Additionally, the change in the election day and beginning and end of term of service has changed from July to January. January 1 to December 31st. So just a few of the items in there that need to be addressed. This is one specifically that will affect us in the upcoming election. So, other than the change in the term boundaries, beginning and end, we can continue to do based on the previous election. Or we can, as they say, amongst the membership.
I'd be more comfortable if we could, either us or staff, put together a revised, clean copy of the bylaws we vote to adopt, as opposed to doing a motion.
I agree.
Yeah, I was going to ask if we ever even discussed this. I mean, I know it come up, and it was printed up, but we never,
Yeah,
Never truly discussed it, but
probably a process that we should look at. There are other sections in there highlighted that we should probably update too.
yes.
So,
When could we do that, or we'd have to do that in closed session, or?
I think it should be open. It's our open bylaws.
Yes.
I think Kim Payne had said that we should have another kind of get-together.
Like a little workshop, kind of?
Yeah,
Yes.
we could each look at it and come with any ideas or changes. And then, because I think it's kind of wrong to shift this off on the staff. This isn't
Yes. No.
them, this is us figuring out how we want to work together. So if we were all just to meet, or if we were to do an email, however you want to do it, but we probably need to discuss this and figure out voting on it now.
Oh, yeah, obviously, this is, like I said, this is strictly for discussion. But it's something
Good
that,
one there.
I'm curious how other jurisdictions do it, because, I mean, we're not the only ones that have run up on this, so they don't need to reinvent no wheel.
Yeah, exactly.
Find out how they do that process and decide whether we want to copy it or not.
Yeah.
That would be the thing to do. See how other agencies that have split
cutting
elections.
paste is a whole lot easier than thinking it out. All right.
So Rob, can you research some of that? I know you get your plate full,
Look at that.
how other jurisdictions deal with split elections and select mayor and, not
out.
mayor, but vice mayor.
Is this something you might want to tackle like a condensed retreat maybe amongst yourselves?
Well,
We can.
We've got our annual retreat coming up. It's been predominantly in the fall, but usually that was after the
Faster on that? Okay.
election year. And this may be the retreat for the fall, the full day one. And this should be one portion of it.
I'll reach out to other localities and see if they're.
I think Kim provided us with some, yeah, Lynchburg mainly, but we could probably get some others from other jurisdictions and towns and counties and cities.
Do we have a date set for the fall retreat?
No, we do not.
That's what I was wondering, who said that.
Maybe the next meeting, we each bring 2 dates.
Yeah.
We would probably do it at the Civil War Museum. Is that what y'all thinking?
We've done it at the hotel for the last
Oh,
2
yeah.
years.
Yeah, we did.
Food
we did.
locker, we've done it.
We've done the food locker the year before that.
Well, we can do
see
it
what
here.
the most accommodating would be.
Yeah, I just didn't know if we needed to check dates with places, but we
Yeah.
probably won't. Yeah, they'll probably have space.
Okay. All righty. So we'll just, like I say, we'll take the selection process item and try to expand upon it and get everything ready. Cindy, if you can make sure everybody gets a copy, paper copy of the thing so they get a chance to read it over before we get to that point in the process. Each of you can have one-on-one meetings with each other and myself and until we get to the point of making the decisions, but talk things through. All righty. Okay. And the next item, Anniversary Commemorative Festival Committee selections.
I'd like to throw another idea out instead of getting a committee together. Everybody knows there's key people in the community that know more than others of the town. I wondered how it would work if we would advertise or put the word out that we're looking for
Yeah.
people to work with us to help us
Yep.
commemorate the town for the years we've been existing. More so than creating a committee, because the committee is going to have other issues that's going to come along with it. But it's key people already in the community, in the county and the town that could help us tremendously.
And if they would reach out, you know that they'd really want to do it.
Right.
True.
Right,
So-
versus putting somebody on the spot and
Yeah.
asking them.
If we did this, I think we need to figure out how we would get this word out to people, you know, with Facebook or put it up something in the paper
Yeah,
and see what we get. Because there's a lot of people out there and they don't have to be, I mean, it could be anybody. But then we could gather all that information and then us as a town council to see which way we want to go with it. But, I mean, Lathan's already headed this thing up, so I think he ought to be,
We're volunteering.
Hey!
yeah, I think however you word it up, and then, like, I would feel more comfortable, the people that I'm thinking of, like, say it's on Facebook, I can say, hey,
Check it
this
out.
makes me think of you and your experience with the town, or you owned a business, or your dad was active in this, and then you throw it to them, if they want to come, they can come. Like
'Cause-
he said, versus, you may get more help that way.
some people that we might put on a committee might not,
Want to do it?
other people might not be open to talk
Yeah.
with them. So if we just open it up to the community, town, county, to, hey, bring us some information to help us
Right.
celebrate our, what, 100 year?
Yeah.
100?
100.
And then I think you can get volunteers in whatever capacity, like maybe somebody just wants to, I don't know, cook hot dogs, or somebody wants to do more. That way they can kind of just say, well, I'm able to do this, or I'll just give you information.
I
think
did
that's-
like the idea of doing something with the Railroad Festival
Yeah.
weekend, that weekend. To kind of, you already got the people, now let's tell them about Appomattox.
Yeah.
That would save us a whole lot of work.
I think we can kind of frame it with, we want to put together, it's really a working group, because no one on staff, we're not going to throw this on them to be the showrunner for this, but we're going to have probably a couple of people, and I'm willing to, take some position in actually doing the work on this, but a small group, either 1 or 3 people, have to be the showrunners that are going to put it together and work with the Road Festival and everything else. I think we move forward with the Road Festival date. We don't get funny and try and have something in June or whatever, because I read articles from the last one, and it was, they did their June event, and some people were like, wow, a lot of people showed up, and then other people were saying, well, I wish you would have advertised more and done it as a bigger event or whatever. So combining it with Road Festival, you almost guarantee it's not a no-show flop event. The other piece, I think we keep the September meeting on the books. We put it, what is it?
16th, wasn't it?
16th.
Something like that.
I think it's 16th.
And we just work between now and then. Let's put the word out. It's an informational meeting, and those who want to do something will come to meeting number 2, and those who don't.
It's
Where
kinda
would we
like,
have, where would we have, what's the location of the meeting?
Yeah.
Right here.
Just do it here.
Here.
It's the same concept the Railroad Festival does with their Facebook page. If you want to volunteer in whatever capacity, show up, and we could just see who shows up, and maybe might have to have a couple little meetings.
I think we need to word this to get people to bring us some information
Yeah.
and stuff, get that worded right, and get that out as soon as possible.
Right, like what do they think they're gonna do, like, give them, like, kind of
Tell
hold
the
their hand?
stories
Yeah, we
about the
want
town.
stories, pictures,
Any of that.
that way they
Not
can.
necessarily we're gonna put them on a committee, but
Right.
bring us some information that you might help
Right.
us promote the town.
Yeah, you may have to kind of,
Then we can,
break it down, not just like, there's a meeting, we would
Put
love
the
to have
cart
you,
with
kind of
the
make
horse.
it personal. I think you get a lot of responses that way, because people will say, oh, they might share it with somebody older that they know that would have information.
We have a lot of people who live out in the county who have been business owners for years. Bill Allenberg comes to my mind, and my Mays. I was just sitting there before the meeting, making a list of all these people who have some head knowledge of all the things that happened. Ronnie Spiegel, who was an integral part. I don't know that he would want to do it, but we can ask. So much knowledge of the things that happened in the town in their time.
Yeah.
And, Sammy Carter.
There's a historic Appomattox Facebook page. I don't know who runs it, but people will put something like from Louis McDermott's place from years ago. Like Doug Webb would comment that he knew what it was. It would be like a tool or something. So that's a good group. I don't know who runs that, but they know answers to random old stuff all the time on that page.
So you just made me think of something. Something the National Park Service does all the time is, they call them oral histories.
Yeah.
So they sit down with people and just talk for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever.
Well, we do that at Carver Price right now.
Sure.
We have it.
Would you guys be interested, as a council, could we fund someone to do oral histories? With,
set them right there.
we could pick 2 or 3 dozen people to sit down and talk to. It's not.
Like Reverend Jones does that
You
at
could
the National
videotape it
Park.
and we could use it forever.
We have that at Carver Price Legacy Museum, and it's wonderful. It's like a computer screen, and you can poke all the different people and sit there and listen to their testimony about how it was and what happened and their walk and with this.
Yeah, and you could even have it organized the day of the event. You have your different people talking whatever subjects. Maybe they're talking about businesses. Maybe they're talking about the railroad. That's
Because the way we
creative.
approached it, we had the
Fun
same,
idea,
basically the same questions. We had an interviewer and sit like say McKinley, and I'm here, and if the camera's on McKinley, and the interview will ask the questions, and they're allowed to wander a little bit and add things, well, this, that, and this, that, and that worked really well
Yeah.
for us.
That's a
But,
great idea.
We need to hone this back in a little bit and move forward.
That's, so let me throw one more out there and then I'll.
Go
shut
ahead.
up. If we did oral histories and we had some sort of visual component, which I know Monty Mays has a huge collection of memorabilia and other people do too.
that's why I thought of him right
But-
away.
But we could have the end of the depot cleaned up and set up on the inside with screens and an interactive thing. That's not, if you go the super duper professional route that a museum might, it gets really expensive. But I've done a bunch of those setups, like I did one of the ones actually at the American Civil War Museum. And those screens, if you do it kind of, you do a little bit of the work, it's really not that expensive. So we could have like 10 or 15 displays set up in there, and it's a cool thing that people can walk through. And then we have it preserved forever.
And it's not just for our anniversary, but it's for tourists too.
Yep. So maybe that's, the start of an idea that we can talk
Yeah.
about in a committee.
So you're gonna write something up and then we'll get access to it, to the Times-Virginian?
Sure.
And
And can we get something on our Facebook page?
then put it, on Facebook.
What is, today's Tuesday, I'll have that, let's say.
That we can
Thursday.
share, we can each share
Yep.
on our page.
And I guess if we have to pay Times-Virginia, just so that it's the same thing you wrote, and that it's people see it.
You want to send it to everybody just to get an idea?
Yeah.
Make sure nobody has no heartburn over it. And
Yeah.
y'all good with that if he compiles what we're going to advertise that and then?
Sure.
Good idea.
Rob, we won't assign you to that one. You got enough to do.
Thank you. We're all pretty taxed right now.
All right, Mayor. What's next? You good, Nathan, on that?
Council comments. Ms. Spiegel.
I thought of something. It's not ADA, but in that hallway, we have this table with candy and things, and if it's a violation of fire safety, why don't we move that, I'm not gonna say mess, whatever is in the hallway with the candy thing and the doodads, whatever on those tables, we've got napkins and this and that. Why can't we take one wall inside our conference room and set that up there that's not obstructing any fire issues if we need to exit the building, and it would look much neater, and it wouldn't have the issue with, we open the refrigerator door and we're banging our butt against the candy thing, and not taking up the conference room, but just one, there's plenty of space in
Yeah,
that.
there's space over there.
Why, that's,
I think it'd be nice to make them not a counter, but something makeshift, let them have a little area in there. I don't know how much that would cost or what it would take.
but just moving what's there over to the end of the conference room would make sense to me, but I didn't know how everybody else felt about
It
it.
would eliminate your fire hazard or whatever the hazard.
Actually, that was in our Versa report, but we are within the measurement, it's in compliance,
Oh, okay.
but for the staff, it would be nice if we could, they can't use the microwave, and then if Kim and Dana have to get to their office, it's a roadblock.
Yeah.
So that might knock out some of the issues with the extension cords that we're using.
Yeah, and I don't have any if we need to use the conference room for a conference, having it up against one wall, I don't see where that's gonna be a problem. Lots of times I've walked through there and they've got drink bottles and different things. I don't object to any of that. Use the room. So,
I do.
Yeah, there's space on either end of
yeah,
that,
there's
that
plenty of
room.
space. And it
I
would
think
get it
staff
out
can
of the
take care
way.
of that.
That's just my thought.
That's a good point. Staff probably take care of that.
All I have tonight.
Okay. Mr. Simpson.
I had a couple of phone calls and meetings with residents, and got a couple of things out of that, but one that I don't know if we can do anything about this really, but the train service to me seems like it's picked up, just in hearing the train from my house, and I think the railroad guards are down a little bit more often. And one particular resident said that he saw a train stopped blocking the Court Street side, but not the Main Street side, for over 3 hours.
Church Street.
One afternoon. So, yeah, sorry, it wasn't blocking Church Street, it was blocking Court. And so it was his thought that maybe the train didn't realize that it was still stuck there, because it was a very long train. It was the end of the train that was stuck at the Court Street intersection. So I know Norfolk Southern is kind of impossible to talk to, but we could maybe get into their complaint system. And
The start of that train is up on 460 waiting on a crew change. That's why they stop the way they do.
yeah,
But like that last time, it was one car.
right.
You know, one car,
Yeah.
but still.
And that could have, especially when we have a detour on this side, that could have a significant impact where both main crossings are blocked.
Well, then they go around by the school, but, you know.
I think it definitely worth making a phone call and just say, hey, we doing this detours and stuff, you know, can you help us a little bit?
Sure.
They can shut them all if they want to and not even blink at it. We've been down that road before. They can burn anytime they want to. They can do anything they want to do because they got their own government. But we could at least, you know, hey, we trying to put in a water line, got detours in place, and it would help if we, I think that would be a call we could make. And
Let's see if we can get a contact.
911 center has probably the main number you could get.
We've been doing a lot of maintenance out here lately too.
Yeah.
I noticed sometimes it's, the crossing's coming down and there's no train,
Right.
but they have been out here working some more than usual.
I've had a couple of different folks complain just in general about Church Street, which not a lot we can do, it's construction, but they just were worried about communication and that nobody knows when it's going to be done. We might not even know when it's going to be done. But just a status update maybe.
Yeah, let's see, Tori has it in her report. It's about 80% complete. Been fielding a lot of dust complaints, and we had an unfortunate incident last week with the logging truck.
Right.
They had the equipment and the material to pave temporarily to address the dust, but VDOT wouldn't let them continue the detour because we had the accident, which made absolutely no sense because you already have majority of the road blocked. So we could have had that all done in a matter of hours, not to mention a waste of material that they had, a base, which has been really hard to get a hold of lately. So yeah, I did talk to them. Tori's been working with them. So a couple of events were just unplanned. But Tori's really done a good job, I think, reaching out to as many people as possible in advance with the 24-hour notice that you might be cut off temporarily. And they are going to, once the pavement is done and the street is swept, they are going to come back and do the businesses again with the, like, cleaning all the dust off the sidewalk,
Good.
the canopies, the
That's
porches,
what I was
that
gonna
type of
ask.
thing. So yeah, I will see what we can do.
Is there any kind of accountability for the logging trucks that were coming through here that weren't supposed to? I mean, there's signs up
Yeah.
asking you not to do that, and they
We-
come anyway.
Yeah, Councilman Garrett was out there when I stopped by. We do have the information for the insurance company, and I think that was given to one of the restaurant folks because they had to bring temporary generators. And, you know, they were impacted a week before by a loss of water. So, yeah, hopefully we can get that moving. And once they get the base down and cover up the center line, that should eliminate a lot of the dust issue. And then the next will be the boring underneath Confederate.
But,
We've got a little more cooperation with VDOT about getting it set up for right away, I mean, the detours and everything, so.
yeah, unless the truck is caught by state police or
Yeah.
county.
That's what I was getting ready to ask. I know login starts early in the morning and then they move them. Like, is there a certain time of day that, like, maybe
They're not
if
supposed to be
if we
on
had a
that road.
deputy that would be monitoring? But I know that's a lot because they got other stuff to do.
So that brings up a point that I think we might need to add to the agenda at some point. And it's no secret to anybody, my father is the former sheriff, and he and I have deep discussions about law enforcement and the nature of different types of law enforcement. And it's my thinking that, you know, if we provide the funding to hire deputies, which we need to do, we're the type of locality, we can't afford a full-fledged police department. I think we need to continue to fund the sheriff's office to the fullest extent that we can afford and match that with, you know, the deputies that we're paying for now. But those deputies, if you've got a guy in a brown uniform in the county and they're in town and let's say it's 2 o'clock in the morning or it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon and somebody starts beating somebody else up in Pamplin, they have to go to Pamplin. They can't sit here. And you're always going to have that pull. But we've had different situations over the past, even the past month, we've had a string of car break-ins. And that's because the type of community that we have is changing, I think. We have denser housing, we have new housing, we have a lot more opportunities for crime like that to happen, and we have the wants of residents. You know, through us being elected, we all want trucks not to go on that, and through the center of our town, and a sheriff's office doesn't really have the enforcement. They don't have the staffing or the dictate to enforce that type of traffic ordinance. I don't really, if you really think about what a sheriff's office does, because they're always going to get pulled away for some other crime. But if we had maybe we hire a night watchman or something that's still a certified police officer, or we hire somebody that'll sit there and just write tickets for us whenever a truck comes through. If they start getting second and third offense tickets, which are several $100s or more, and they start getting points off their CDL, they'll stop coming to the center of town. But that's not something that we can put on Robbie's plate, the sheriff's plate, because he has other things pulling in another direction. I think we're going to have to cough up the money and pay for that type of enforcement if we want it.
They're definitely not really reading the sign. I don't know if we need to move the sign, put a blinking light in front of the sign.
I think they see the signs, but they don't care. They just go, I'm just going to go right on through.
Because
Nobody will
And
see
you know,
me.
people are fussing about this. People
Yeah.
are complaining to me about this.
Absolutely.
But now, there are also deputies that are working overtime strictly in traffic enforcement.
Yeah.
So there, you know, there's that side of it too. Where are you gonna enforce? So, I mean, it's probably more productive to enforce on 460 than it is Church Street, and, you know, that's,
Right.
But if we
That's
had
what
a
you're looking at.
part-time certified police officer, you know, it gets into, we really need to think about, do we want this? But we had that
And
person,
then
we could
it-
tell them to enforce what we want.
and then is there a way to do that outside of the sheriff's department?
Yeah, I mean, there is, because we've had one in the past, but
I mean, like a little meter maid or something?
it's essentially.
Well, something that would patrol over at the,
Yeah. Because you still got, in other
shopping
areas, you got
center,
people
too.
parking on the sidewalks. I see them because I walk down this little
Yeah.
side streets. But you know, your other people quit doing it, but then it's still happening.
I think,
Well, one
I
day
think the
there was
sheriff
a
probably
lady
can
parked.
do more enforcement what they do, but, they got a lot of dead time too, that they could be going after these trucks and not doing it, but, cause we all in the same row going behind the truck going through here, that he certainly could pull them over, what I'm saying. Cause I've seen it every week, I mean, not every day, but every week. But I think this truck accident we just had is gonna go a long ways. They talk, all these truckers talk, and after the $200,000 or $300,000 that's gonna cost that incident, they ain't coming through.
I hope it, but you know, I've even seen, y'all may not even believe this is so far-fetched, but I was coming up by Dr. O'Brien's old office, where the pizza place, the new
Yeah.
Carmine's Pizza Place is. and there at the stop sign sat a car right at the stop sign with nobody in it.
To go get their pizza?
Go and get the pizza.
Like the Kroger fire lane.
Go on and get the pizza.
There's
And you
nowhere for
couldn't
them
get
to, they
around
can't
because
walk.
it was a mess.
That's crazy.
And that's the kind of thing,
I believe it.
you know,
See-
I mean, it happened,
The
honestly
other
did.
thing is these trucks, they go into Atmax Glass, they getting tractor trailer loads of parts and stuff, they need to do their job.
Yeah.
So I mean, they gotta get to these businesses too.
And they go to the print place. I see a tractor trailer sits there
But-
sometimes.
Right.
I don't think it's gonna be as simple as just hiring a deputy a person to go write tickets all day. Cause a lot of these truck drivers from other state, they ain't never been here but once and they'll never come back again. And they get hung up and have issues and mess up our roads. But I think it's just
But
something,
for the most part, it is the loggers,
Yeah.
and they are here.
and maybe we do a promotional thing to these sawmills and logging companies. Send them a letter, hey, you're gonna get
Yeah.
a ticket if you come through, I mean, that's easier than hiring 3 or 4 deputies to do it.
Yeah, and you could just say, but you may not know, but due to the recent accident in Appomattox, hey, I don't know.
Who is going to be responsible for the cost of replacing the electric? Who ultimately will be
The
responsible?
company, the insurance company that's owned that truck.
What was he thinking? I don't know.
Well, he was
It's
following
just
the
one of
detour,
them-
very simple.
I mean, he didn't wake up that morning and wanted to do all that. It
No,
just, it's an
and I'm
accident.
sure he was very upset. That's what I
Yeah, I'm
heard.
sure he
But
had a
It's
rough
just-
day.
we can't fix everything from sitting right here. We just hope, I think we make people aware of it, and that's something we could send the logging companies, because we can get our mailing list to them, to send them something, to, hey, yeah, go around town, please.
But it is interesting to watch a tractor trailer try to pull off Oakley to make the right turn. I mean, they are all up on the sidewalk.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's hard on the sidewalk.
Yep, they swing around at Jamerson's, that area, before the construction and stuff.
And they're gonna have to still do all that, because they bringing goods in and out and picking up. And they gotta get to the schools, it's all, but the wood trucks definitely, I think if we do a little promotion to get them. And
they're not
you
really
think
certain.
VDOT, I don't know if VDOT
Oh,
would,
boy.
Well, it's worth trying.
yeah, I
See if
think
it
that's
works.
the cheapest thing to do right now is let these logging trucks know, hey, we don't want you coming through town. And you're gonna get a ticket, hopefully. That would be the cheapest thing to do. Try it.
Maybe the sheriff's department would be willing to
I know one logging company ain't coming through no
lend a
more.
little more time to that for
He will
during
not
the
have
time
no
when
more.
this letter goes
He
out.
did have a nice truck, pretty orange truck.
Did. Well, and it hurt the business, it hurt the restaurants. Many
It's
businesses
just
closed. the
something
rest
else on top of the road repair. It's just like, you gotta be kidding me.
He had, I mean,
That from lack of power.
Yeah.
she has a generator because from times before that, Bettina I'm talking about. So she, because you lose everything in the freezer, you lose everything in the refrigerator. They have a generator, but not all restaurants do.
Yeah.
I don't know that Carmine's did.
Bartling.
And she had orders to fix and anyway.
What else you got, Nathan?
Lost of
Oh, it's
income.
still my comments, wow.
Yeah, I think it's,
Yeah, we are.
I sent, so I've scanned about 2,000 or 3,000 town pictures from all those old photo albums in the basement. I sent Cindy a link, so she'll forward it to y'all. It's not, it's not like password protected or anything, but I haven't shared it with anybody else other than y'all. So if y'all want to let people know that they're scanned, just to let people look through them, if you want to put it on Facebook, that's cool. We can share them. If not, that's fine too. I just wanted to make sure they were preserved.
can we research what it would cost to, and I'm not talking about going full color now, because most of it's probably black and white, but to get I got a couple of them at the house I'll show you, that's prior history of Appomattox. It's got how they just stapled it together, and just something cheap and easy to give out to people who might want it to.
So I was gonna do, I didn't have my numbers prepped because I wasn't gonna bring it up this one, but what I was thinking is we could pick, if y'all wanna go through the albums too and pick like the top 200 pictures out of all of those. Or
Put 'em in a-
top 100.
Showcase them.
And then we could print it, and that probably, to get it done right, you might be 10 or 15 bucks a book. And that's printed pretty decently, so.
You can actually sell those.
I was about to say that, there are people that would probably buy that.
There's some really cool pictures. I mean, and then from the construction side too, we have construction photos of the SBR plant. We have construction photos of the Trickling filter plant, 460 bypass. There's a lot of
Thomasville.
those. It's really cool.
You have one of Thomasville?
That was actually my grandfather took
Yeah.
that. Yeah, but yeah, so there's a lot of cool stuff.
It's one cool
Okay.
picture I'll share with y'all. They had a Ford truck they made a fire truck out of. I have to share it with you, but it had a Chevrolet motor and transmission in it, Ford chassis, and had a tank and a pump on the back. And the fire department in the town at the time didn't have money to buy a battery. So they had to, when they was running, they backed it up on like a
Ramp.
lift. It was a wooden lift right down here. And when they get a call, they get in it and roll start it.
They got it done too, didn't they?
Skinny Woods told me that out of his own mouth.
I love it.
So I have a picture of that truck.
Now, you can do that with a generator, don't try it with an alternator.
But
Cool.
All right.
a lot of history.
And we can use those for marketing for the event too, you know, put them on the Facebook page or whatever.
Would y'all mind, I know it's in the code, so we don't necessarily need a vote for this, but I don't think anybody's ever used it before. But it says council can reimburse for reasonable expenses or whatever. I have the envelopes and the boxes. It's not very much, but if I could just replenish my supply, it might be like $30 total. Envelopes and things we do.
See, send somebody.
You just submit your expenses.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you.
Very organized
So you got
down here.
receipts.
Very nice and organized.
Right, be careful what you say.
That's what my council
Especially
tells
now.
me.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Simpson. Ms. Puckett.
Nothing tonight.
Mr. Garrett.
I don't have anything. I think we've covered everything.
Mr. Boyce.
I'm quiet tonight.
Ms. Allen.
Oh, man.
Where are we at on these buildings that just look bad?
The
You
what?
know, the buildings that look bad and like working on,
Hoping to have him come tonight, but we've rescheduled him. We'll have him come up from the
Okay.
state in September to kind of go over the positives and the cons of trying to do a property maintenance code.
okay.
He's with Department of Housing and Community Development.
We certainly have several of them.
Can I say something during your comment?
Yes.
Is that okay?
He's sponging time.
Comment off my comment.
So, I was thinking about the commercial building situation that we have where there's a lot of open space but not a lot of usable space. Like with Ms. Slagle who came and presented and wanted to use the residence and everything. Would we be willing to maybe hire somebody, even if it's like an intern could do this, but an inventory of vacant commercial properties that could have either historic potential or could get adaptive reuse money from the state or whatever. There's no list, but we could all probably sit here and come up with it so it's not rocket science, but just something to think about. It's like those that would be on the brownfield list plus some other older underused buildings. Might be grants that we could use to pay for that. That's all I have.
Anything else, Ms. Allen?
Oh yeah, that's it. I'm sorry.
Council Standing Committee reports.
We don't have
Infrastructure,
none. We don't have none on physical development.
Finance, and ARPA. All good? Staff reports. Ms. Ray.
We have 1 month on our financial report, so you're actually getting to see 1 month in a snapshot. but I just wanted to bring your attention to the general fund being negative. It's negative because we started out the year by giving out all our donations in July, and I also paid our insurance bill. The insurance bill is about $62,000 because that covers all vehicles, all buildings. The depot's value went up. It covers our liability, our cyber insurance, everything. So that's divided among each fund, but the general fund takes the most of that because it also includes our work. So that follows where your most of your employees are. And the buildings belong to the general fund. So the general fund takes the biggest hit of the insurance just because it has the most that needs to be covered. So the negative 100,000 for the first month is because we had so many upfront since July came in. The only other thing that I think everything else is coming along fine. The only other things that I wanted to bring to your attention on the last sheet is, yeah, we did complete our preliminary audit and we've got 2 more coming up. We have another preliminary, then we have the final with Brown Evans, the external audit. Grant status, still waiting on Main Street revitalization. I'm just waiting on the state to say it's closed. We have that one, and I will say that the sewer, finally, we have a few things to wrap up, but all the financial part is over. There's no more money to come or receive, so I hope we're in a closing status of that one after Christmas. And the Church Street water line, I have an audit coming up with that in October because we are so close to completion. They want to take a look now at the financials and make sure that we're coming into close for that. And then you have the workman's comp audit coming up.
Yeah, we sent everything for that.
Okay, so we have that coming up. The new payment process that we talked about has been implemented. We've had 8 people so far to get on the automatic pay. So we did just a notice on our last invoice, and from just a notice on the last invoice, we had 8 people that successfully go in and activate it. So it's really good.
Do we have any safeties on that, so if somebody gets a $1,000 water bill?
Right, we can stop it at the point of that day, and they do receive the notice of what's gonna be debited from their account like a week, I think,
Okay.
before it actually happens.
Yeah.
So we can see too, if something looks strange in that billing,
Okay.
which we have safeguards anyway to catch that. But, nothing's perfect, but I
Oh,
think
yeah.
that, if we saw something unusual, it would be either caught by the customer or by us. Yeah. Now, we can't just, we don't know if truly you had company for the weekend or for the holiday, but if something's really out of the ordinary, we can stop that. I think I mentioned earlier that the real estate and the personal property tax invoice is already out, and we've already started receiving payment for that.
Yes, you have.
You got
Like the
mine.
second person in the door, I think.
Yeah. I dropped mine in the box this weekend.
Hey, I'm scared of sharing, y'all.
And again, that kind of explains why we negative in the general fund at the beginning, but now the general fund is getting all this tax revenue. So those are cycles like that. I think I have the audit dates, but that's a repeat. I don't think we need to talk about that anymore. But as far as, I think that's all we have as far as what's going on in the finance area. Anything you want to add? Okay. But I think that's everything.
All right. Town manager, Mr. Fowler.
Hopefully by the end of this week, we'll have, well, I don't know, we'll have design plans, but we do have 2 interested parties to give us a proposal for the landscaping at the visitor center. It's probably gonna come in 25 to 30, I believe, but depends on how creative we get with some hardscaping, if we even want that type of material used, but, I'll be meeting with another one of them, I think Thursday's coming down to do another look. So hopefully we get that going, and get that ready prior to any special events. That's really all I had, other than that other information I provided. Tori did give a Public Works handout update. The cameras, we're still waiting for a hard number for those to come in to see what we can kind of budget for.
Is that's the cameras for,
For all the facilities.
right, because we need one out here in this parking lot.
Right, and we need them in the Parks and Rec.
And
Yeah,
other places,
playground,
too.
yeah.
And our copper, you know,
Yeah.
roundabouts, et cetera. I'm surprised they're still there.
And I'll follow up first thing in the morning with Hurt and Profit to see if we can speed up the grant project.
Mr. Fowler, what is CHA?
Sir,
What is CHA on this Public Works report?
let's see engineering reports.
CHA is the name of the company?
Yes.
Okay.
It's the company that got passed, but,
Yeah.
yeah. The gentleman we've been working with
For years.
passed away 3 or 4 weeks ago. So Tori and Kim and everybody's been kind of, and David, working to make sure we don't drop anything, or they don't drop anything on us
Yeah.
because of the consent order.
They were also awarded what we call our lead grant, which is a national incentive for all the communities to make sure we had no lead in our pipes and everything. So we were awarded, I think, $250,000. So he was heading that up. So I'm assuming another principal or another part of the engineering firm is going to keep that project going for us.
Yeah. Past that.
What type of man lift did we buy? It says it's similar to yours.
Kim and I were just talking about that, because I asked Kim. I think it's like the lifts, the portable lifts.
Is it like a cherry picker or is it like a scissor lift?
I'm thinking a scissor lift is what it's describing more, but yeah.
Probably articulating,
It's whatever Timmy has.
What do you have?
articulating, full vinyl.
Like a... got a-
Tripod
Yeah, it's a
system.
boom.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
Okay.
Hang
Those are
Christmas
really-
lights with it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. Slide it over to my house.
Rob, I have one question on the
He's ignoring you.
courthouse. Have you got any updates on, I know they're waiting on a lamp post or something?
We did, the council and the board of supervisors did approve our waiving our fee for the permit. We have obtained a permit. An inspection, I think, has been scheduled. So that is moving forward, and I think September, October, the landscaping should be completed. And that project will be wrapped up when they get the striping done, lane striping done.
I think VDOT won't let them put the landscaping in until a certain month. That's what I was told, but.
VDOT updated me on the SmartScope side, Rick Youngblood, and said that they're shooting for September, October, as long as there's no weather events.
Yeah.
That's when they have it scheduled.
So the town was supposed to be taking over the utilities of the lights.
We are gonna own the lights, yes.
That's the only thing I think we was,
Correct.
at the end of the deal, we was gonna have
Yeah,
to.
everything else remains VDOT maintenance.
So I don't know, the meter, is the meter, how that's looking, where it's at, it's feeding all that. I guess they'll give us submittals on, drawings of how it's wired and all that.
And that should have already been submitted through Pearson for the bid, but,
But I mean, we need it for the future.
Right.
As we go
I'll-
working on it.
check with Tori to see if they have them, but, they did provide us a lot of schematics so we could get the building permit.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure we have it, but I'll verify.
So some of those existing lights was on poles. They were supposed to take off in lieu of a sidewalk pole. This one would go away and we'd use this one. So I don't know if anybody has verified all that's been done.
All right. I will check into it.
Two, we'd have multiple lights going.
Have we heard back from Kim Payne on when we're gonna start getting
The initial review is supposed to start September 5th or 6th, I believe, is what he had in the proposal. The last email I got from him, there was approximately 12 that they described very strong candidates. So they're kind of pre-selected, I think, through those now. But I can certainly send an email tomorrow because I've sent them some information requesting some proposals for some of our upgrades to our HR package, the employee handbook, that type of thing.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Does anybody else have any other business to come before the council at this time?
I thank staff for all the hanging in there and keeping the boat shape straight. How you say it, Jim?
Keeping it afloat.
I agree with that, Timmy. That's
100%.
That's all I have. You want to do on?
I will say everybody's kind of, Dana and Kim have gone above and, well, everybody has, but especially, we're Dana fighting the payroll system. We found some glitches, but thanks to both these ladies, we're working through it. And hopefully we'll have some solutions very soon
I guess we'll throw a
to make that job easier.
Well, let's have a street party at the,
Dance, play music and all.
close the main street off. Have a band.
It's close to Church Street now. Never mind. He's giving you the honors
Motion
tonight.
adjourned.
Motion on the floor.
Second.
The motion made and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, folks. Appreciate all your hard work.